Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? Happy Friday night, everyone. How is everything going? We got a lot to talk about tonight here on this wonderful Friday evening. Andrew Benintendi heading to the south side. Joey Gallo going to the Twins. Didn't see that one coming. We got a little something on Dansby Swanson. What's going on with him? What's the update? We're going to talk a little Manny Machado tonight. Who would have thought Manny Machado would be in the news? James McCann, could he be on the move? We're going to talk about one of the greatest Red Sox players of all time, Eric Hosmer. How are we doing, everyone? Good evening, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. Hey, it's Friday, and you know what is wonderful? You know what's wonderful, at least for me? I'm going to brag. I'm on winter vacation. I'm excited. I feel great. I got the next 2 weeks off of work. Man, oh man, this is my favorite time of the year. I'm in a jolly mood. Christmas is right around the corner. I don't got to work for 2 weeks. Well, I will be working. I'll be working on channel stuff, so don't think I'm going to be taking any taking the pressure off there. I'm going to be going hard in the paint when it comes to the channel for the next couple of weeks. But it'll be nice to have the next couple of weeks to put my time and effort into hanging out with all of you guys at home. How's it going, everyone? Alex Rodriguez is here in the chat. How you doing, everyone? How you doing? Alex Rodriguez, the legend himself, is here. Everyone, I want to thank you for stopping by tonight. As always, it's always a pleasure for you to stop by. I've said this the last few shows. We are now in podcast format. That's brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network. So you can watch with me here live on YouTube, or if you're not able to catch the stream, if you're kind of too busy to catch it, especially on a Friday night, you got stuff going on like tonight. Hey, the next morning you'll be able to listen to it on Spotify, Google, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. So everyone, thank you. If you're with me here tonight, welcome. If you're listening the next day, hope you have yourself a great rest of your day. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. Andrew Benintendi, an old friend of mine, changing his socks. He's going from the Red Sox, now a White Sox. I like the move. I'm going to talk about it here. A lot of action in the AL Central. Benintendi to the White Sox, Joey Gallo to the Twins. Interesting move. Did not see that one happening. We got a couple of little rumors and news sprinkled in there. We got a little Manny Machado. Didn't think I'd be talking about Manny Machado this offseason. Rather interesting story. And, of course, Eric Hosmer getting DFA'd by the Red Sox. And I'm going to kind of dive into that. a little bit. I got some thoughts and some feelings. Not just on Eric Hosmer, just with Red Sox fans in general. We got to talk. We got to talk, Red Sox fans. I'm sorry, but we have to have a conversation here. But we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But everyone, before I do get started, if you are new to the channel, think about subscribing down below. Hit the like button for me, everyone. The like goal for tonight, let's go for 150. Let's go for 150. Can we get it? I think we can. Let's see if we can do it. Hit the bell notification for me. That way you know I go live every single time. Share the stream as well. And also, sponsoring the channel, we have SeatGeek. Use my code HYDE. You get $20 off your first order. Like I've been saying with SeatGeek, baseball season may not be in the cards at the moment, but you got basketball, you got football, you got a whole bunch of stuff that you can go see. Concerts, go check out SeatGeek. You get $20 off on your first order. Don't forget about Prize Picks. If you are into the sports betting game, use my code GINGER. You'll get a 100% deposit match. If you deposit 20, they'll give you 20. 50, they'll give you 50. And also, we are trying to land Manscaped as a full-time official sponsor on the channel. We got to get at least 8 people to use the code. Christmas is in less than 10 days. So if you're looking for a good stocking stuffer kind of a gift, especially for a man in your life, dad, brother, friend, whoever, go check out Manscaped. They got some good deals over there. If you use my code HYDE, you get 20% off. But the main sponsor for tonight's show, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network. We have Bet Online. Basketball is back, and Bet Online remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at Bet Online. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, Bet Online features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. Head to Bet Online and join to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. Bet Online, where the game starts. All right, enough of me rambling over here about sponsors. Let's get to the action for tonight. We're going to start off with an old friend of mine, talking a little Andrew Benintendi. I got the music ready, everyone. I got the music ready. I'm feeling good here on this Friday evening. Again, hope everyone's having a good Friday. Hope everyone's ready for the weekend. But let's talk some Andrew Benintendi, shall we? I really like the move for the White Sox. You know, I was funny because I was just talking Andrew Benintendi last night, saying, man, the Yankees, they got to bring this guy back. Like, why would they not want to bring Andrew Benintendi back? This guy's a gamer. He's a winner. He played really well last year. A guy that gets a lot of contact. I thought, to me, he's perfect for the New York Yankees. But in the end, the White Sox ended up jumping on it. And good for them. And it's funny because last night I tweeted about this a little earlier. I actually tweeted the clip from last night's episode saying, hey, I think Benintendi, he probably should get anywhere 5 years, 70 to 80 million. And here it is. 5 years, 75 million. I mean, I gotta say, I kind of took a shot in the dark with that one, but I don't know. That's what kind of just felt right to me with Andrew Benintendi. But $75 million guaranteed. This was first brought to you by Jesse Rogers on ESPN, was confirmed by Ken Rosenthal. At least the contract was confirmed by Ken Rosenthal. So really like it for the White Sox. They needed a player, you know, another bat for this offense. It felt like this offense last year just didn't really quite get it going. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like something was missing. They had some good bats in the lineup, but guys were underperforming left and right. And what I like about Benintendi is this is a guy who just gets a ton of contact, one of the highest contact rates in baseball last year. Very good batting average of 304, a very good on base of 373. And actually, we can go take a look here. When it comes to the leaderboards, Andrew Benintendi, you're most likely going to be seeing him batting near the top of the order. So if we go take a look here, now I'm actually just looking at this for the first time, but if we're looking at the first and second spots in the lineup, we can actually go take a look at where the White Sox ranked. And Fangraphs, you are not loading for me. You are killing me right now. Here we go. So taking a look here, when it came to WRC plus, hey, the Chicago White Sox, they were only 21st overall last year in WRC plus in the 1 and the 2 spots in the lineup. So they definitely needed a boost at the top of their order. And Andrew Benintendi, I think he's going to be a good place setter. It just felt like the White Sox lacked that. I mean, they had a guy like Jose Abreu in the order. You had some other guys. Andrew Vaughn was pretty decent last year for them. Tim Anderson, he was a little up and down last year when it came to his health. Moncada had a bad year. There are good bats here. Luis Robert, of course, did not really have the year that a lot of people were thinking he was going to have. This lineup this year, if everything comes together for the White Sox, this lineup could be absolutely insane. But they definitely needed something at the top of the order. Now, where I do worry about the White Sox a little bit, but again, I think it could just really come down to these players just bouncing back and having better seasons than last year, is just the power. Because now that you've lost Jose Abreu, I mean, Jose Abreu's power was down too last year. I mean, I'm just saying. But can we see some of these guys really stepping up, like Luis Robert, like an Eloy Jimenez? Can this guy finally have a full season of health? You know, Moncada, can this guy step it up? Vaughn, can he step up the power even a little bit more? I'll tell you, I think Andrew Vaughn could end up having a really good season in 23 because he's now going to be the first baseman. He's not having to worry about where he's playing in the lineup. he can just kind of settle in. I think Vaughn could end up having a really good season in 2023. And how have I not mentioned Grandal? He was awful last year with the bat. They were even looking, getting someone like a Sean Murphy. So Grandal is definitely going to need to step up here. But in the end, I like the Benintendi move. I think it's something exactly that they needed. A guy that makes a ton of contact. He's going to get on base for you. He's going to play a rather good left field. I like it for the White Sox. They hadn't done really anything this offseason. You signed Mike Clevinger. But in the end, I still think this White Sox team is good. Now, they did not perform the way that we all thought they were going to this year. A lot of people picking them to win the division, and the Guardians ended up winning the division this past year. The White Sox finishing at exactly 500. So I do expect the White Sox to have themselves a good season this year, and I think Benintendi is only going to help. Now, if we go pull up Andrew Benintendi here, I actually was just looking at StatCast last night, and with Benintendi, again, the advanced numbers, he really took a dive a couple of years ago when he was with the Red Sox because he was trying to really go like Homer happy when that really wasn't his game. His game was to hit more for contact, hit more for doubles, hit into the gaps. That was the kind of guy, the bat that Benintendi had. And if you're looking at the advanced numbers, you're seeing quite a bit of reds. The expected batting average was high. He doesn't strike out a lot. He doesn't chase a lot. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. He actually lacked a lot of barrels last year. So I actually do think Benintendi's power can come back a little bit. I think it's slowly but surely, not like he ever had a ton of power to begin with, but I do think you can see him get back to around maybe like the 15, 20 home run range. I feel like last year, the last couple of years was just him just getting back to his old ways. And now that I feel like he's back to that point now, he can just keep getting better, right? Instead of just trying to go back to that 2019 Benintendi where he was just trying to hit home runs left and right. So I love the move for the White Sox. It's a solid move. They needed something in this lineup. And hey, good for them for finally going out there and making a move. But that was not the only action in the American League Central today. We had Joey Gallo going to the Minnesota Twins. I'll be honest with you. I did not see this one happening. I figured maybe Joey Gallo could, go to a team that has done well with guys that have, that have struggled. Like the Giants have done pretty well with guys like that. The Rays, I thought, could have been a pretty fun fit, and they've had interest in Gallo before. And so now Gallo is going to be heading over to Minnesota. And actually, I want to take a look here at the leaderboards. So here we go. Here is the story. It's going to be a one-year deal. It's going to be $11 million. There's still a lot of potential left with Gallo. He is only 29 years old. I do think with Gallo, obviously he's had his struggles, but I think there's also a bit of fatigue with him as well among just baseball fans in general, because this is just a name that we hear over and over. He's such an up and down player. Like when he is good, he's awesome. Like you love watching Joey Gallo, but when he's bad, he's in a bad way, man. And he's the last year, going back to the trade deadline when he got traded to the Yankees, he has just not been good. He found a little bit of success with the Dodgers, but nothing too crazy. But for the Twins right now, he is slotted in as their left fielder. So their outfield right now consists of Buxton, Kepler, and Joey Gallo. So if he can get back to the power that what we know he is capable of, I mean, this is going to end up being a great move. And actually, I want to take a look here. When it came to home runs last year, where were the Twins? The Twins were 13th overall in home runs, so they could, I guess, use a bit of a boost when it comes to the power department. If we take a look at slugging percentage, Minnesota was 11th overall. If we take a look at ISO percentage, Minnesota was 15th overall. So, with Gallo, again, it really just comes down to, can he get back to what he was doing with the Rangers before he got traded to the Yankees? So let's actually go to Baseball Savant and let's take a look at the advanced numbers. Well, if we're looking here, he's still hitting the crap out of the ball. He's right there in the top 6% in hard hit percentage. He was right around the top 10% in max exit velocity. Average exit velocity, he was in the top 40%. He still barrels up the ball a lot. So there are some advanced numbers here that do suggest that he can be fixed. It's just a matter of, maybe tweaking some things. Can the Twins do it? I think it's possible. They got some good coaching over there. I think they can get him back in the right path. And if they do, I think it'll be huge for the Twins, man. And one good thing with Gallo is he is going to be still a good outfielder. If you look at the outfielder jump, he was in the top 15%. Arm strength, he's still right up there, top 10%. So, hey, there is still promise with Gallo. It's just a matter of, are the Twins going to be able to harness it? Are they going to be able to just get him back on track? And if they do, man, the Twins, they've been making just some, in a way, I kind of appreciate the offseason that the Twins have been having. You've added Christian Vasquez. I think that's a good intangibles kind of a player for the Twins. Gallo, I'd say, is a bit of a project, right? But there's a lot of upside with him. You're going to be getting a Kenta Maeda back. I like this Twins team. I do. And don't forget about Royce Lewis. He had knee surgery, so I'm guessing he'll be back at some point in the second half next year. I'm not really sure of the timetable. But there is still, I still like a lot about this Twins team. There are a lot of injuries. That is also one thing with Gallo. If we look at Gallo, he has been a pretty durable player for the last couple of years. Now, he was running into some injuries in 2019. But other than that, he's been pretty durable for the most part. So that is one thing the Twins could use. They did have a lot of injuries last year. Skull, TYA Catch 84. Does the signing mean that the Twins... I'm guessing you meant to say the Twins trade Kepler. We're actually going to talk about Kepler here in just a second. And also, while I'm thinking about it, I do want to apologize. Last night, I had a couple of super chats, and I completely missed them. So I'm going to read those super chats here in just a second. I got them pulled up. So, again, I do apologize about that. I was very tired yesterday. I was very hungry yesterday. And, just completely forgot about the super chats. We had 2 of them come in. So, again, apologies for that. So, I'll pull those up in just a second. I do have them pulled up right here. So, but, Joe, we got Tom Amiano, speaking of super chats, coming in with one right now. What is your ideal offseason for the Red Sox at this point? Sign a shortstop like Swanson, trade for a shortstop or a second baseman, trade for a center fielder to bump Kike to second, starting pitching trade. I think you have to do something about shortstop right now. That, I think, is the big thing. To me, it's Swanson. You have to land if you want to have a good team this coming year, you got to sign Swanson, I think. I mean, that's just me. If you want to get some talent, this is the guy you got to go after. You don't have Bogarts anymore. The Padres, they're in desperation mode, trying to get themselves to a World Series. They threw 11 years at them. There was no way the Red Sox were doing 11 years. So I think right now the Red Sox, they got to stay disciplined. They're not giving out any long-term deals. So I don't think they're going to go crazy for Swanson. But if he's game for anywhere like a short-term deal, 5-6 years, I could see the Red Sox doing that. I don't know if they end up giving him more money than they were offering for Bogarts, but you have to do something about shortstop. That's the big thing right now. That's a very important position. Or if that means getting a second baseman, putting Trevor Story, at short, getting a center fielder like you mentioned, bumping that, Kike, you could put him at second, Story at short. Could that be someone like, I don't know if you do Brian Reynolds. I think right now the Red Sox don't want to be trading top prospects right now for Reynolds. I don't think they're in that situation. They're going to figure something out. It's a matter of, I think right now, Tom, I think they need a right-handed power bat, I think. They need something for that order in the middle, something that's going to hit for power, drive in runs. I like the bullpen right now. You can never have too many arms. and for starting pitching, I would like another starter personally. I just, the depth to me, I want more depth in the rotation. So right now, I think shortstop is the number one priority. A starter would be nice. Maybe another bullpen arm. But yeah, Tom, that's what I'm thinking right now, my friend. Thank you for the $5. But Twins, Joey Gallo. Hey, it's an upside kind of a move. There's not really a whole lot of risk there. Let's wait and see what ends up happening with this. But in the end, it could really end up helping out the Minnesota Twins. Remember a couple of years ago when they were a very home run happy team? It's kind of making me think maybe they're trying to get back to those ways a little bit, bringing in a power bat like Gallo. But let me get to these super chats here because we had a couple from last night. And taking a look. So Yogi Dude, you gave me a super chat last night. Thank you for that. Thoughts on the Mariners offseason. I think it's easy to get a lot of expectations for a team that had success and they're on the come up. I like the offseason that the Mariners have had so far. You've made a couple of interesting moves. You've brought in Teoscar Hernandez. I think that's going to be a good bat. That's going to lengthen the lineup. I like the addition of Colton Wong. I like it. I think a lot of Mariners fans were thinking here, go after someone like a Trey Turner, maybe a Dansby Swanson. I don't think there was a whole lot to do with the Mariners to be completely honest. You got a lot of young players here. They're only going to keep getting better. The bullpen looks great. Rotation is great. You got Luis Castillo at the deadline, and then you signed him to an extension. I really don't think there was a whole lot for the Mariners to do, and they've added a couple of bats here in Hernandez and Wong. I like the offseason that the Mariners have had. I think it's a fine offseason. Could you have gone crazy and signed Trey Turner, or at least tried to? Sure. I don't think you really needed to, though. Yogi Dude, thank you for that. And then we also had one from Alex Silva last night. Is it just me, or has Heyman broke news with last names since the whole Arson Judge Coke Hamill stuff? I forgot about Coke Hamels, man. That one was pretty funny. The Arson Judge one was a hit. Honestly, it's like if you're one of these reporters and you're trying to get the news out first, I mean, why waste your time even putting a first name? You might just put the last name. Those 5 letters that you type in could be the difference whether or not, you get beat by Jeff Passan or Rosenthal. So it's like, and it's, I mean, look what ended up happening. I mean, look at all the backlash he's gotten. And honestly, speaking of John Heyman, can this guy stop tweeting about the interview that he had with Harrison Bader? Is anyone else noticing how much he is tweeting about that? Enough is enough, John. I'm going to lose my freaking mind if you tweet one more time about the interview you had with Harrison Bader. Stop it. I'm going to blow my gasket is going to explode. Like, enough is enough, John. Stop doing it. Because every time he tweets, especially in the offseason, we're all looking for news. And it's like, fine. If you want to tweet about your Harrison Bader interview, okay, fine. But you don't got to do it like 5 times a day, man. Like, come on. You got a big following and it's annoying. You stop it. Anyway, but thank you for those super chats from last night. I do appreciate that. Again, apologies for missing those last night. So we are all caught up on that. So let's move on here. Let's actually stay with the Twins. And now there is actually some word, according to John Heyman. Speaking of, it's looking like the Twins could be talking Max Kepler with some teams, especially after signing Joey Gallo. So let's go pull this up here. Here we go. John Heyman at around 8:12 saying that there's a lot of interest in Max Kepler. So here's the thing with Max Kepler, right? Kepler, he never has the flashiest stat line. But the advanced numbers have always looked pretty good with him. Actually, if you look at Max Kepler right now, he's got a ton of reds. I mean, look at him. I mean, look at all these reds here. Exit velocity, max exit velocity in the top 10%. Average is in the middle, but the expected numbers are all in the top half. Barrels are in the middle, but he doesn't strike out a lot. He walks a lot. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. He doesn't chase a lot. There's a lot to like about Max Kepler. The problem with Max Kepler is when it comes to the stat line, he just doesn't really put a whole lot up. He only had 9 home runs last year. He hit 227, a 318 on base. I don't know. It's just the thing with Kepler is that 2019 season that he had, I don't know. Since then, he has just not really been all that great. Now, if we go look at the splits, his splits, I mean, he's definitely better against righties. He had the better batting average against lefties of 243, but against righties, he hit 221, but 8 of his 9 home runs came against righties. So he's going to be more effective against the righty hitter, against the righty pitching. So if teams are looking for a left-handed bat, I mean, sure. If we go take a look over here, let me go back to the splits leaderboard one more time over here on Fangraphs. If we take a look here, as a left-handed hitter, let's see which teams could use a bit of a boost when it comes to left-handed hitting. Kepler is one of these guys, again, the advanced numbers, they look really good. Actually, let me look at Kepler's, let me look at his BABIP. His batting average on balls in play, it is pretty low. A 249. When he's, making a lot of contact. And, I wonder if the lack of shift is going to help him a little bit. Could he maybe be experiencing the same thing as Joey Gallo, getting a ton of shift on him? I think Kepler could end up having a pretty good season, a better season next year. I don't know the exact number of how much he's getting shifted on, but I wonder if that could end up happening. Twins fans, let me know. Has that been a big thing with Kepler as he's, gotten kind of hindered by the shift? So I would imagine maybe, especially like a left-handed hitter. These left-handed hitters, they like to, he definitely likes to pull. I mean, if you're looking at his spray chart, he is definitely a pull hitter. So he doesn't really hit oppo. So, yeah, man. But if we're looking here, teams that could use a lefty bat. I mean, honestly, I wonder if Toronto could end up being a decent fit. They could use another lefty bat, and they just did not rank very well in left-handed hitting last year because they didn't really have any left-handed hitters. But you just brought in Kiermaier. Now, I wonder if Kepler could be a pretty good fit for the Blue Jays if they end up trading Danny Jansen. Danny Jansen, that is a guy that could definitely bring you back something. So I could see maybe Kepler being a decent fit for the Blue Jays. Gives you another left-handed hitter. So also with Kevin Kiermaier, speaking of the Blue Jays, it is looking like he is going to be the starting center fielder. They have let him know that it's basically his job to lose. So just kind of want to note on that because there had been some whispers out there that maybe the Blue Jays were looking to do some kind of a platoon. But no, it's going to be Kevin Kiermaier's job. That's how I saw it too, because Kiermaier is just kind of one of these guys. He's never going to give you the flashiest stat line, but when it comes to just the kind of player he is, he's a leader kind of a guy. He's going to be patrolling it out there in center field. So either way, I wonder if Kepler could end up being a good fit. I know they just brought in a Christian Vasquez. I was going to say maybe you could do some kind of a trade with Jansen and Kepler, but probably not because they just signed Christian Vasquez. But be on the lookout for this, everyone. I definitely think this could be an interesting story. Kepler, he's been in the rumor mill for a while. I feel like trade deadline, you were hearing his name coming up. I feel like last offseason, his name was coming up a little bit. So be on the lookout for that, everyone. We'll see if anything happens here with Mr. Max Kepler. So here we go, everyone. Let's shift gears. Let's get away from the American League Central. And let's talk a little Eric Hosmer. And the Red Sox today. I'm not surprised. I was just talking about Eric Hosmer yesterday. I was just talking about him. Eric Hosmer getting DFA'd by the Red Sox. So gives the Red Sox 10 days to look for a trade. My guess is, if he gets put through he's not going to get claimed by anyone, I would imagine. So he'll probably just end up being a free agent. So here's the thing, everyone. All right, Red Sox fans, hear me out here. Okay, I think right now, I'm noticing this. We got to stop it with the Chaim Bloom hate, because I'm seeing it a lot. And I think it's kind of just being done purposefully at this point. I'm seeing people complaining about dropping Eric Hosmer. I think people just, right now, Red Sox fans are just enjoying hating on Chaim Bloom. He could do anything right now, and I think he'll get hate for it. I think it's kind of just like a trend right now. That's a thing. That's a thing in today's world. If someone's getting heat, people love to just pile on the heat, no matter what they do. And you just designated Eric Hosmer. Who cares? Who cares? It's Eric Hosmer. Have you looked at his stats in the last couple of years? What are you upset about? Red Sox fans, I mean, come on. You got to stop. What are you upset about? It's Eric Hosmer. You got him for free. We got him for free. You got a couple of prospects with him. One was a pretty decent prospect that you got back. He had been doing well in high A ball. What were you going to do with Eric Hosmer? What is he going to be? What is your DH? Okay. What, he's not your first baseman because you have Tristan Casas there. What were you going to do with Eric Hosmer? Was he really going to make your team that much better? You weren't paying him anything. You weren't on the hook for anything. He's just taking up a spot on the 40-man roster. I'd rather have Eric Hosmer off of the roster so you can try and add someone. People just want, right now, Red Sox fans, they're in complain mode. Let the process play out. Have some patience. Relax. I understand. You just lost Xander Bogart. This is the same thing. The same thing happened after Mookie Betts. The same exact thing. They got rid of Mookie. They traded him away. He wasn't going to be coming back anyway. He was going to go on the market. Yeah, they probably should have offered him a better extension. But either way, I don't know if Mookie was ever going to accept an extension, no matter what the Red Sox offered him. I don't think he was ever going to do it. I think he wanted to get to the free agent market. And, he never got to the free agent market, but he basically did. He got the big contract. I mean, he ended up going to the Dodgers, right? He signed, when he got traded to the Dodgers, he signed the long-term deal. So that just shows me that if he was a free agent, probably would have really considered the Dodgers. So the same thing happened with Mookie Betts. Everyone was just jumping off cliffs. Everyone was just Red Sox fans. They were just complaining about everything. I'm sorry, but it's enough is enough. And look what ended up happening. You ended up getting back to the ALCS. When we get to the ALCS, everyone was like, "Oh, Mookie Betts who? Oh, who cares about Mookie Betts? We're in the American League Championship Series. Oh, we won the trade." And now it's like, "Oh my God, we DFA'd Jeter Downs. We've lost the trade. Fire Chaim Bloom." Enough is enough. It's exhausting. It's kind of embarrassing, honestly. Enough. Let the process play out. Let the man do what he's got to do. And if it ends up not working, then okay, it doesn't work. But let him just at least put together the team. It's December. You got all of January. Let the man just do what he's got to do. Watch. This is what will end up happening, right? He makes a few more moves. The Red Sox, watch. I guarantee you this is going to happen. If the Red Sox end up being good this season, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, man, Chaim Bloom, genius, amazing, wow, this guy's great, amazing." I guarantee you, if the Red Sox have a good season, that's what's going to end up happening. You gotta stop it. Have some patience. Let the process play out. Let it play out. I'm just saying. Who knows? It could end up being a really bad season. It definitely could. I'm not saying it can't be. But can we just at least just wait and make our judgment call later on? I mean, obviously, there's still some players out there. Dansby Swanson is still just sitting out there. I think there is right now, there's a bit of, I think people are mourning the loss of Xander Bogaerts right now, and I think it's trickling in to anything he does. I'm just saying. So, I don't know. I'm just noticing that, and it's getting a little tiresome, you know. Red Sox fans, obviously, I've been a Red Sox fan since, you know, over 25 years now. I love you. I love Red Sox Nation, but it's a little tiring. It's a little tiring. Just let it play out. But Eric Hosmer, there was no need to keep him on the roster at all. There's no need. It was just wasting a roster spot. He wasn't going to make your team better. This guy has been washed for the last couple of years. I think he needs to just go on the market, go have a fresh start somewhere. He wasn't doing anything for the Red Sox. He was only going to block playing time for Tristan Casas. He wasn't going to do anything for you. But I'm just seeing people getting upset about it. And I'm like, why? It's Eric Hosmer. Listen, I hope he ends up bouncing back. Seems like a good dude. I hope he ends up revitalizing his career. Maybe go back to Kansas City. That could be pretty fun. You know, like maybe get himself back on track. But he wasn't doing anything for this Red Sox team. He was only hindering this Red Sox team. Now, I will say this. Could this mean that the Red Sox, now they did DFA him, and then they also added Wyatt Mills from the Royals. Bit of a side armor. Interesting guy. He has a lot of extension in, like, when you go look at Baseball Savant, there's not a whole lot of track record with him, but he releases the ball pretty close to the plate. So, one guy that also had that when he came over to the Red Sox was Garrett Whitlock. Garrett Whitlock, his extension ranked really high. So again, extension, it's how close you're releasing the ball to the plate, right? So the closer you're releasing it to the plate, the harder the ball is to pick up, right? So this guy, and he's also throwing from a bit of a sidearm angle. So is definitely going to be a different look. He has not really gotten a whole lot of major league experience, but he could end up being a decent arm for the Red Sox. Now, is it going to be more just depth at this point? I mean, he's going to be going to the minors. So, but he's on the 40-man roster. So I think the Red Sox, they could be lining themselves up for some kind of a move. So we're going to have to wait and see what ends up happening. But again, you ended up designating Eric Hosmer for assignment. So Wyatt Mill. So let me just confirm that. Red Sox 40-man. I believe he is now on the 40-man roster. Because I think that's what, yeah, Wyatt Mills is on the 40-man roster. So Hosmer was not doing anything for you. And in the end, I like that the Red Sox are adding more pitching. They need more. I just like the depth right now that the Red Sox have. I mean, I'm not saying they have anything amazing by any means, but I at least like having some arms. So, but could it be maybe opening up possibly, you know, you got rid of an infielder. Could maybe this be lining up for another move? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But we got to calm down, okay? I'm just seeing so much about Chaim Bloom. I'm not sitting here saying he's the most amazing, you know, president of baseball operations of all time, but just let it happen, folks. Let it happen, Cap'n. Just saying. But speaking of the Red Sox, there is a little something on Dansby Swanson. Not a whole lot. Ken Rosenthal, he's been coming out with these articles lately saying, kind of just telling you about what he's hearing. So let me go pull this up here. He did talk about Dansby Swanson a little bit. Not a whole lot. It was kind of, it wasn't really a ton. But he kind of, basically what he was saying in this article about Dansby was that there seems to be, when it comes to the teams that have been mentioned for Dansby Swanson, the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Twins, he's suggesting that the Dodgers could perhaps become serious for him. Now, I see a lot of Dodgers fans talking out there. I see a lot of people saying Gavin Lux, because right now Gavin Lux is more of a platoon guy. He doesn't hit lefties very well. So people are wondering maybe you get a righty bat there. So, and I've been seeing Dodger fans saying, like, yeah, Gavin Lux, this guy is not the shortstop. I think they're ready for it. Now, we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening because, there's actually something, we kind of talked about it last night. We talked about it with Trevor Bauer. It's looking like Trevor Bauer could end up getting some time back, some of his suspension time reduced. It's starting to look that way. So, and the Dodgers, they might end up having to pay him money, right? Especially if he ends up getting his suspension time cut. So most likely the Dodgers are not going to hang on to him, but they're going to have to pay him something if he ends up getting reinstated and they end up just cutting him. They're going to have to pay him. So the Dodgers, I think, are kind of, I didn't really think about this before. Well, you didn't really think about it before because you didn't hear anything about Trevor Bauer. But if he ends up getting his suspension reduced and they cut him, remember, they paid him a lot of money, right? They're giving him a high AAV. They're going to have to pay him something, a good amount. So I think the Dodgers are kind of also just waiting to see what ends up happening with that. It also just feels like the Dodgers, too, I think they're kind of like, they've just been spending a lot of money in the last couple of years. So it almost just feels like they're just taking a bit of a step back in a way. But he's suggesting that the Dodgers could become serious depending on what he's looking for. I find Swanson to be really interesting when you look at the four shortstops, because he really only just had a breakout year. He's been fine. He's been good. But this past year that he had, it was his best season. So I think he definitely could get a long-term deal. But I wonder if teams are a little hesitant in giving him these long years like Trey Turner got, like Correa got, like Bogarts got. I don't know if I see a team giving him 10 years after one really good season. Those other guys have had many good seasons. Swanson's only had one. So that's where I'm wondering if maybe he ends up taking a short-term deal. And when I say short-term, I've said this a lot, I do think the Carlos Correa kind of a deal could end up working out for Swanson. Kind of bets on himself for another year, or maybe he takes like a 5-year deal, goes back out onto the market when he's 33, or maybe he takes a 4-year deal. You know what I mean? Something where he can go out into the market again either next year or in a few years. I could see something like that. So, I don't know. I think he could get a long-term deal if teams are convinced that he's going to end up being good. But I would think if I'm a guy that's running, if I'm an owner, right, of a team, or a general manager or a president of baseball ops, I would kind of be more comfortable giving a big deal like that to someone where they've had not just one really good season, but at least a few, right? He has been trending upward the last couple of years, but I would want to see a little bit more. That's just me personally. So it will be interesting to see what ends up happening, what kind of a contract he ends up getting. So I don't even know what to think right now. The Red Sox are picking up steam. The Cubs, they've been saying for a long time now they wanted to add a shortstop. His wife plays there in Chicago. I still think the Cubs could be realistic. The Red Sox, listen, the Red Sox now, they are in like full no long-term commitment mode right now. Right now, they're just not there. I don't see them going like 8 years for Swanson. It wouldn't be a good look PR-wise after not giving Bogaerts the deal, that the Padres ended up giving him, which honestly, I'm glad they didn't give him an 11-year deal because I just don't think that is going to be a good contract in the end. I mean, sure, you're not going to be paying him a whole bunch, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. 11 years, man, that's a long time. So who knows what happens with the Red Sox? I don't know. The Twins, they signed Gallo today. It looks like the Twins kind of just changed course a little bit. I don't know. It looks like they wanted Correa, and if they didn't get, now it looks like if they didn't get Correa, they're just going to move on. So they're just going to start looking elsewhere. But then there's the Braves. I predicted that Swanson was just going to go back to the Braves. I think he could. I think he could end up going back to the Braves on like a 1-year deal. Alex Anthopoulos, I think would be a comfortable, because Anthopoulos has been giving out a lot of long-term deals. The payroll is steadily climbing. I could see Anthopoulos maybe wanting a short-term deal. He would have brought back Freeman, right? But it wasn't. It was going to be for less years than what the Dodgers gave him. So I think it was like 1 or 2 less years. I can't fully remember, but I could see the Braves just giving him give him like a 1-year deal. Go back out into the market next offseason. And then he could end up being one of the top players again, but be even better next year. If he does it again, if he bets on himself, imagine if he has another good season, bets on himself, has another really good season, that guy will get paid. I'm just saying, man. Swanson this year reminds me of Correa last year. Not really because of the ability, but Correa had the injuries last year, and people were a little concerned with him. They were concerned with the back, but had a good season this year, and he just got paid. Swanson, if he just bets on himself for 1 more year, has another good season, puts up like a 5 Fangraph WAR, he could end up getting, the kind of contract Correa got. 11, 12, 13 years. But I definitely think there's a chance Swanson bets on himself and just takes like a 1-year deal. We'll have to see. But that is the latest on Swanson. Moving on here. We got a couple little things here. Just going to talk a little bit. We talked Conforto last night. This is the same graphic. If you're with me here on YouTube, this is the same graphic from last night. But now it looks like the Rangers have jumped in. Let's go pull this up. And I'm not surprised because the Rangers, they definitely could use a boost when it comes to their outfield. We've seen the Marlins showing interest in Conforto. I think the Marlins make some sense because I think the Marlins they're going to have a hard time attracting, these like big names. But for someone like Conforto, who's been out of the game for a year, I could see that. But Marlins definitely make some sense. They've been looking at Justin Turner as well. And the Rangers, I like it. According to Ken Rosenthal, the Rangers are involved in the Conforto market. Remember Chris Young coming out of the winter meetings, he was saying he would have liked to have addressed left field. Right now, you got some guys. You got Josh Smith currently out there, or he's projected. Benintendi, I thought would have been really good for the Rangers. I thought he would have been a great fit. But now it's looking like the Rangers are shifting focus to Conforto. I would imagine they probably wanted Benintendi. I don't know, man. I would have given, to me, if I'm a GM, I'm giving Benintendi $575, 5 years, $75 million all day. That's how I think highly of Andrew Benintendi. That's probably my Giraffe Nick Robbie talking, but I don't know. Rangers, be on the lookout for them when it comes to Conforto. I think why not? Why not? Take a chance on the guy. Take a chance. I think it depends on what he's looking for. You got to remember, you got Scott Boras who's representing him. So he's probably really holding out for years. So I don't know. It's a very interesting one. But with Boras, it's always going to be problems, man. We got a super chat coming in from Maverick, $5. The Freddie deal AA was giving was a 5-year deal, but Freddie wanted 6. But with Dansby, it will be 5 to 7 years, $145 with the Braves. So, yeah, I could see something like that. I think that's what the Braves have been wanting to do all along. I think they've just said, hey, go check out the market. If you don't like what you see, come talk to us again and we'll try and work something out. I think that's what they did. So, but yeah, I could see something like a 5-year deal for Swanson. I could see like a 5-year deal, 6 years with an opt-out. I could see something like that. After like 2 years, I could see Anthopoulos doing something like that, where he can opt out in a couple of years, go back out onto the market. That I could see. So we'll just have to wait and see. But Michael Conforto, he's definitely turning into one of the more interesting free agents right now, especially with all these names coming off the board. But shifting gears, let's talk the New York Mets. And they just acquired Omar Narvaez yesterday, so they got a lot of catchers right now, and James McCann could be a trade candidate. However, I don't know, man. This might be a bit of a tough one. James McCann has pretty much just completely fallen off. I don't know, man. I think the Mets might have a bit of a hard time getting rid of James McCann because that bat has completely just disappeared. The glove is still okay. The problem with McCann, he's making $10 million. I don't know if people want to be paying this guy $10 million. Now, his value last year, 2021, he was only worth right around $4 million. 2022, he was only worth right around $3 million. So it's a bad contract right now. It's not good. And if we go take a look at baseballtradevalues.com, if you look at the Mets, if you go to James McCann, I'm guessing his value is pretty negative right now. Yeah, he's got negative 16.9. They would definitely have to pay a good amount of the remaining salary if they want to get rid of him. I could see them doing that. There are teams out there that, could use some catching help still. So there could be a market, but the Mets are going to have to pay some of that salary. He is owed now. If we look, he is owed. He's a free agent in 25, so he's got 23 and 24. So yeah, he's making $20 million over the next 2 years. I don't know, man. I would think it. So we looked at he's been averaging over the first 2 years of the deal. He's made 7 total. So I don't know. Maybe the Mets end up paying like $15 million of the remaining 20. So he's averaged right around about $3.5 million of value per season. So yeah, I could see the Mets maybe paying $15-16 million of the remaining salary. So they're gonna have to, which makes a lot of sense because if you look at his value, it's right now at negative 16.9. So yeah, that's right in line with what I just said. So yeah, that I could see him doing that. But I think they should try and trade him. I think they should just go with Narvaez and Nito. Right now, he's not really doing anything for you. I don't know. That's just me. But be on the lookout for McCann. And I think something is going to happen here with the catchers when it comes to the Mets, especially after acquiring Omar Narvaez, a.k.a. Jolly Olive. Let's talk about our last story of tonight, everyone. I saved an interesting one for the last story of the night, and that is Manny Machado. We're not talking this year. Nothing's going on right now. But the Padres, it looks like they are expecting him to opt out after this coming season. Goodness gracious. I mean, honestly, it makes sense that the Padres are expecting this. It makes sense based off of their activity. They were going hard after Trey Turner. They ended up getting Bogarts. I think, and they go back to the trade deadline. Obviously, they acquired Juan Soto. Maybe they've been kind of thinking this for a little bit now. Maybe they think Machado is going to end up actually leaving. I don't know, man. I don't know. But according to the article, It says here for Machado, Preller was thrilled to get Bogarts, as shortstop has always been A.J. Preller's bias. They do anticipate superstar Manny Machado opting out after 2023, but they deny any attempt now to trade Tatis. And there was a bit of a rumor out there that the Yankees were looking into Fernando Tatis Jr., and they pretty much shot that down, said it was total BS. So, as for Machado, let's go take a look here. Now, it's crazy because he is 30 years old. I mean, with the money that these guys are getting, it does make some sense. And the years that these guys are getting, Bogarts just got himself an 11-year deal at 30 years old. I mean, let's see. So after this year, he'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years left on that deal. He just saw Bogarts get an 11-year deal. Why couldn't Machado go out there and get himself like an 8 or 9-year deal? I could see, why not? To get him a 9-year deal going into his age 40 season? Because, he's after this year, because he'll be 31 at this point next year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons after that. So he'll be 31 years old going in, he'll be he'll be 31 and a half at that point. So it might really benefit him to go out onto the market, especially with what these guys are getting. Carlos Correa getting a 13-year deal. Bogarts getting 11. Trey Turner. What did Turner get? Turner got 11, right? He got 11. Right now, it would be smart business for Machado to opt out and go get himself a deal until he's 40, because at the end of this deal, if he were to stay with the Padres, he would be 31, 32, 33, 34. He'd be 35 years old at the end of this deal. So it would actually make a lot of sense for Machado to opt out and look for a deal until he's 40. So I definitely think that's real. If we take a look at Machado, he was, MVP finalist last year. He had an MVP kind of a season. Actually, if you look on Fangraphs, this was his best season. 2018 was his best season prior. This year was his best overall season. He put up a value last year of $59 million. So if we're looking at the average of his value over the last few years. Now, 2020 was a short season, but let's see. So he played, He played 60 games in 2020. So that is 37% of that season. So if you do, let's see, 20 divided by 0.37. He was, Machado was on pace to have a value of around $54 million in 2020. So, and then 2021, he was worth 34. And then 2022, he was worth 59. Divide that. So that's a total of $93 million over the last 3 seasons. Divide that by 3. And you are still looking at an average value of $31 million. So Machado, with what these guys are doing, with these contracts that these guys are getting, he could absolutely go out there and get himself a 9-year, $30 million per year. Do $30 million over 9 years. Get himself a $270 million contract. Why not? I think there's definitely a chance he'll do it. And I think for the Padres, now it makes a lot of sense with how active they are because they're just gearing for it, for that to happen. Here we go. Albert Galvin, how you doing, my friend? $5. At this point, as a Red Sox fan, I want Dansby at the right contract, then go trade for Burns and Yelich and cash for Verdugo and whatever prospects. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get Burns. Yelich, sure. That would definitely lighten the return that we would have to send back. I just don't see the Brewers doing that. I don't know if the Red Sox would want to get themselves tied up. Maybe the Brewers could pay some of it. I don't know. I don't see the Brewers pairing Yelich and Burns. Personally, I would love Burns. I agree with you. I want Swanson at the right contract. I don't want him at a big time deal. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about Swanson, man, if he ends up just going back to the Braves. So I hope the Red Sox get it done because they definitely need him. They need a guy. So thank you, Albert. I appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate that. So Machado, after this year, I think he opts out. He's on a 10-year, $300 million deal that goes until his age 35 season. Opts out after this year at 31 years old. Go get himself a 9-year, $270 million deal. That gives him a little bit. That gives him, 4 more years of security? 4 more years of making $30 million per year? Makes a lot of sense. I think Machado, it's a good business move. What are some teams that could end up needing a third baseman after this year? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Machado as a free agent next year will definitely be very interesting. Everyone, I'm going to get out of here. It is almost time for bed, everyone. Yes, a Friday evening at 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. It is almost my bedtime. I want to wake up early tomorrow. I want to make myself a good breakfast. I want to go to the gym. I want to do some banging and clanging at the gym tomorrow. I'm feeling good, everyone. And I want to get to bed at a good time tonight. So no going out and having myself a couple of beverages tonight. Well, I usually don't do that anyway. But gonna get myself a grandpa kind of a night tonight. 10 o'clock bedtime sounds pretty good to me, everyone. But I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Don't forget about our sponsors. We got SeatGeek, we got Prize Picks, we got Bet Online, Manscaped. Go check those out. Make sure to use my codes. Everyone, on your way out, if you can, hit that like button for me. The goal tonight was 150. If you can help us get there, that'll be amazing. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the bell notification. That way I go live every single time. And share the stream as well. Everyone, again, it's always a privilege and an honor for all of you to be here with me. Have yourself a good weekend. I'll be back here Sunday night, most likely. Sunday night tends to be the good night after a whole weekend. We got news and whatnot. So expect Sunday night for me to be back here. If anything does happen tomorrow, I'll be here. So everyone, go have yourself a good rest of your night. Have a good day tomorrow. And I'll talk to you next time.